Alright, let's look at the story of Kang Hambit. After dying 55 times for a crazy goddess, he keeps reincarnating. Trust me, he even had to serve in the military multiple times across his past lives. But what happens when a guy like that hops into a virtual world and starts streaming? He makes insane bets with his viewers and roasts them without any mercy. He beats up game characters, cons players, and runs around with his buddy. Eventually, he breaks the system to unlock a god-level skill so broken that the entire online community goes absolutely wild over it. He charms his stunning game character. But when his mom pulls the internet plug, forcing him offline, his stream chat does what they do best and starts trolling him to no end. Talk about losing all your aura instantly. Once he boots back up, his chat is spamming questions about that broken skill. His views are skyrocketing. But wait, we need to go back to the very beginning, because there is some crazy lore behind how this game even started. It started with a goddess giving a chosen warrior a quest to save a dying world. He fought with everything he had, but when the battle cleared, everyone had completely vanished. Trails of blood covered the entire chamber floor. Absolute bone-crushing exhaustion was written all over the boy's face, leaving him unable to even twitch. Longing for a single moment of peace, his eyes closed forever. Hambit had died, returned, and reincarnated so many times that this endless cycle had hit 55 attempts. He was completely done with it. He expected another loop of pure agony. Instead, the goddess appeared and remarked on how long that run actually lasted. She suggested a fresh reincarnation, but Hambit was entirely finished. This emotionless deity was the very being who had dragged him into this miserable hellhole. His memories were hazy, but after snatching him, she dropped him into a foreign world with a single task: find someone named Urport and keep them alive. Now here is where it gets interesting. This endless cycle of brutal deaths offered zero clues about his mission. So Hambit completely loses his mind and snaps at the goddess, telling her to find the target herself. She claims she cannot step in without destroying the world. Hearing his furious response, she simply notes that his mind and body have successfully restored after his latest death. To be fair, she was right. Every single time Hambit returned, his physical wounds and exhaustion vanished. But the agonizing memories remained, chipping away at his sanity. With his trauma at an all-time high, the goddess casually asks if he wants to start yet another loop. Naturally, she misses his obvious sarcasm and gives a blank response before claiming she was only joking, leaving the guy totally speechless. Since he had pushed through the hellish trials, he finally earned the right to go back to Earth. All those brutal failures had taught him enough to survive anything. So the goddess prepares to send him home. Bewildered, he begs her to hold on because he has a million questions. He was her toy, but in exchange, she granted him a massive gift of power to see what he would do. Suddenly, Hambit snaps awake to his mother, telling him she is leaving for her shift. He drags himself out of bed, completely wrecked by a massive hangover. 18 months had passed since his return to Earth. Living through countless lifetimes had scrambled his brain, but things were slowly clicking. He was kidnapped right before starting his military service, and after 18 months away, he had officially been discharged yesterday. Just the thought made him furious. Counting all his past loops, this marked the 6th time he had to survive military enlistment. You can see why he struggles to adapt to normal life, fearing whatever comes next. But after lying around and crying about it, he realizes it is finally time to do something. Grabbing his phone, Hambit sees a message from his buddy inviting him for drinks. He replies that he is way too exhausted for this young guy lifestyle. Naturally, his friend starts mocking him, but Hambit secretly appreciates the guy. He was the only one who actually supported him during his military days. Out of nowhere, the buddy texts that he actually has a special gift for him today. Hambit's curiosity gets the better of him, so he decides to head out. Ji Yeon-woo was his military senior by 4 months, even though he was 5 years younger. Sitting in an ice cream shop, they chat about staying in shape after intense training. But Hambit only cares about this supposed gift, and since there is nothing on the table, he gets up to leave, thinking his friend was just pulling his leg. His buddy stops him, pulling out a Tier 2 access card for the record project. This ticket gets him high-end virtual reality gear for home play with flawless sync. It normally costs 5 million won, but for Hambit, it is completely free. Even so, he tries to turn it down, wanting to focus on actual work. Earning cash was his top priority. He could not waste his days playing games when he had to put food on the table and survive. Grabbing him by the hair, his friend explains that playing this game can actually make him rich. We are talking hundreds of millions of won just for having fun. Hambit instantly drops the attitude, apologizing to hear more. His buddy explains that the game's legendary creator, Michael Welton, left a final will that shook the entire gaming world. The first person to clear the game gets absolute ownership. This insane prize pool caused the game's currency value to shoot straight into the stratosphere. Even basic strategy guides that help you clear content are selling for absolute fortunes on the black market. Massive corporations are funding elite squads, but solo players still stand a real chance. After some serious begging, Hambit finally agrees to jump in, making his friend ecstatic. They waste no time putting their plan into motion. Arriving at the venue, Hambit is stunned by the massive crowd. Step 1. Pick up a beginner's guide. Our main character is totally clueless, and the record project absolutely destroys newcomers. Fortunately, a legendary guide written by someone named Adventurer A is perfect for early game survival. Egged on by his buddy, Hambit decides to buy the book, but as he flips open the pages, something suddenly stops him dead in tracks. A chilling whisper from the goddess echoes in his ear. She is watching, and it seems his mission is still to track down this mysterious airport. He has no idea what she is planning. She kept him locked in that endless hell for 55 lifetimes, so why suddenly set him free now? Deep in thought, he is snapped back to reality by his friend. Staring at the book, Hambit quietly asks if his buddy knows anything about a mysterious group called Team Zero. The name is famous, but they are wrapped in absolute mystery. The chief executive officer operates entirely alone, keeping all their staff details strictly classified. This screams suspicious to him, and he connects the dots back to the goddess. And trust me, you and I are about to find out this world is definitely not just a simple game. Trust me, you and I are about to watch a guy who knows the raw, sickening horror of taking a life. Hyung was terrified of returning to that endless loop of despair, with the trauma of his past lives still burned into his soul. But deep down, he knew this was the only path to end the cycle. Hyung asks his buddy how fast they could get the accessories for the amulet. Ju says they offer same-day delivery but needs the protagonist's phone to install a few apps first. Since he completely ruined that book, buying it was basically mandatory now. Ju bids him farewell, promising he will be waiting online for the main character to finally kick things off. Hyung promises to rush as fast as possible to get those gear pieces. The second he walks through his front door, he spots a package waiting for him. Unboxing it reveals a crazy expensive, next-level virtual reality setup. Starry-eyed and hyped, Hyun immediately starts putting all the high-tech gear together. With a bit of time left before his mom gets home, he decides to run a quick test. Armed with his new gear, he lies down to jump right in. In-game system windows pop up, and the realism instantly blows him away. But when the settings menu fails to load, he tries restarting the setup, assuming it is just a glitch. Hitting the reboot button triggers a flood of creepy error screens that force the game to launch. Suddenly, Hyung wakes up in a familiar place. He was back in the port city of Edlin after ages. Walking over to a nearby window, he checks out his reflection. His jaw drops. He looks exactly like he did during his final regression. Now, watch this closely. As he wipes his face, his hands are stained blood red, a grim omen from the goddess to start anew. Right then, player messages flash onto his screen. He instantly recognizes his buddy's gaming handle. Moments later, his friend's character, Lopper, spawns right in. Lopper immediately roasts him for not customizing his basic avatar, but Hyung claims it was just an accident. But the real disaster was his username. Pulling up his profile, he discovers his default handle is set to Black Dragon. Lopper bursts out laughing at the incredibly cringe name. Hyung did not choose it, but since it is locked to his biometrics, he cannot change it. He is stuck with it forever. Tired of his friend's endless mocking, Hyung quickly opens his notifications to change the subject. Inside is a deal for Lopper to stream their gameplay live. The blonde buddy would host the stream, while Hyung just had to play, keeping 60% of the cash if they went viral. With no better options, he agrees to the deal. Lopper tells him to just trust the process and instantly starts the broadcast, hyping up the duo to their new viewers. Right away, the chat starts roasting the name Black Dragon, talking absolute trash. They are clearly trying to get under Hyung's skin, but Lopper tells him to ignore them and focus on the money. Ignoring the online haters, the main character takes his first step into the game. Now, he must select 3 starting skills, hoping to roll the powers he mastered in his past lives. Lopper watches with pure excitement to see what options pop up. The moment Hyung selects a card, a blinding flash of light engulfs the screen. Both players freeze, completely clueless about what just happened, while the excited chat starts blowing up with endless questions and comments. You and I can see why their jaws hit the floor. Viewers accuse him of hacking because his luck is unreal, and honestly, even Hyung has no idea how he pulled this off. Baffled, Hyung wonders if his actual power is glitched. But Lopper is absolutely losing his mind, shouting that these are rare hidden skills, and they just unlock several at once. What just happened is statistically impossible. While his buddy brags to the stream about these mythic icons, Hayoung recognizes a few familiar skills that will make a great starting build. He decides to use these skills to level up fast while testing how this digital world differs from his past memories, sensing the goddess's hand in all of this. He goes with basic fire magic to kick things off. With that sorted, he asks Lopper where they should go to grab some starting quests. Lopper looks worried when Hyung chooses magic. Meanwhile, the stream chat starts calling him an idiot for the choice, which instantly begins to annoy the main character. Lopper explains that this game relies heavily on skill proficiency, making complex magic way harder to level up compared to basic physical classes. A star only appears once your proficiency is completely maxed out, meaning you cannot track your progress till then. Hyung remembers this rule and knows mastering magic will take serious effort. Learning magic requires finding a top-tier mentor. But when Hyung asks about finding a master, Lopper gets confused. As a total beginner, Hyung naturally assumed he would have an instructor to guide him. As the chat starts spamming facepalms, Lopper tells everyone to chill. He explains that players actually get skill books to learn abilities directly after clearing quests. Hyung is incredibly relieved to hear that. In his past lives, he had to deal with an incredibly toxic and arrogant instructor just to learn basic spells. He tells Lopper they need to head to the central shop, leaving his buddy stunned that he even knows about it. They can buy the book from a shady merchant named Julio. It was their only option, even though Hyung knows Julio is a notorious con artist. Watching the main character stress out, a viewer sends a donation, making Lopper cheer happily. Hyung actually got 500 won from that donation, which blows his mind. Sure, 1,000 won is pocket change in this game, but free money is always welcome. Hyung jokingly roasts his buddy's worth before they finally head off to buy that fire magic book. As they walk, Lopper notices the main character acting weird. Hyrule admits he still wants to find a magic mentor and points out a listing for Atsub Law. Lopper laughs, thinking he is just trying to flirt. But the warnings say this gorgeous girl is a notorious non-player character who scams players, steals their cash, and vanishes into thin air. Regardless, Hyrule decides to check her out anyway to see if the rumors are real. The chat reacts instantly, making him hesitate and think twice. Changing his plan, he follows the chat's advice and heads toward Julio instead. Thrilled that they managed to sway his decision, the viewers go wild as Hyrule accepts their funny challenge. They start moving, but Lopper questions the weird shortcut Hyrule is taking. Ultimately, he trusts his friend, who seems to be navigating purely by instinct. They finally arrive and spot Julio standing ahead. Hyrule clenches his fists as a wave of terrible, painful memories floods back into his mind. Learning that non-player character interactions are totally unrestricted, rage takes over. Hyrule storms straight into the shop with pure anger. The merchant plays innocent, but Hyrule instantly slams him down, demanding answers about his scams. From the doorway, Lopper watches the chaos in total shock, unable to believe what Black Dragon is doing. Terrified and confused, Julio begs for mercy. Hyrule finally releases him, letting the merchant catch his breath. Julio apologizes, claiming he just sold the last spell book, but offers a trade for a quick favor. You and I know a thief supposedly snuck in while Julio was distracted. All right, you and I are about to dive into a massive scheme. This shady merchant wants help arresting his rival, Atsub Law, by retrieving a stolen money bag. It is a brand new quest, but our main character can smell a total lie from a mile away. See, Atsub Law was actually his true mentor, but training with her in his first playthrough got him thrown straight in prison. Thanks to planted evidence and dirty, bribed soldiers, any defense was completely useless back then. If he takes this quest now, Hyrule gets a spell book while his mentor rots in jail forever. Worse, Atsub Law would take the fall for all the shop crimes. Julio is practically begging our main character to accept, but he just ignores the guy and walks right past him. Suddenly, Hyrule starts absolutely wrecking the shop, leaving Julio and Lopper freaking out. Then he snatches a money bag and tells the scammer to shut his mouth. That was the ultimate proof that this guy was faking the robbery. The real quest now? Arrest the scammer Julio for his sweet 500 gold coins. Exposed and furious, the greedy merchant turns red and screams at him to get out. And the stream chat is losing its mind over this twist. Without pausing, Hyrule kicks the liar right in the face, sending him flying. While viewers argue in the chat, an angry soldier storms into the shop. A cutscene triggers, showing the lying scammer being dragged away in chains by the guards, screaming his innocence the whole way. This is when Hyrule realizes how different this parallel world is from the game. Before, he had to manually fight off corrupt guards just to hand Julio over to someone honest. Suddenly, a system notification pops up. A brand new quest will unlock once the player travels to Atsubel's general store. Hyrule is certain this is no coincidence, but Lopper is screaming in his ear, frantically demanding to know what just happened. To keep things simple, our hero decides to spin a quick lie for his bro. He claims he based his move on a crazy novel plot and just took a gamble. Lucky for him, Loper totally buys it, remembering his friend rambled about web novels back in the army. Just then, an anonymous viewer donates 10,000 won, making the blonde stream partner jump for joy. He immediately hypes up his genius friend, and the chat finally stops talking trash. For Hyrule, this streaming life is proving to be a wild ride, and he is happy to let Loper handle the spotlight while he enjoys the fun parts. Now pay attention here, because they finally arrive at the shop. The blonde realizes Atsubel is a highly connected NPC. While other players unjustly treat her like some criminal, Hyrule knows she is actually a good person. A long time ago, our main character used to beg her for work. Showing her softer side, she gave the lazy slacker a chance and let him do odd jobs around the store. Despite her sharp words, Atsubel genuinely cared for him. She even handed him a magic book once, telling him to study hard if he wanted to make something of himself. Sadly, she was eventually arrested, but she never blamed him, swearing revenge on the rat who framed her. Soon after, she tragically burned to death, leaving a deeply painful, precious scar on his heart. Lost in these heavy memories, Haim finally finds the courage to step inside. He is instantly greeted by the girl herself, who looks noticeably downcast and sad. Seeing him, she is surprised to spot a stranger in her shop and demands to know if he realizes who he is addressing. Haim, playing the clueless newbie, says he traveled all this way just to learn magic from her. But Atsubel shuts him down, saying she has no reason to train some random stranger. While the stream viewers start spamming the chat in excitement, Haim is already working on a plan. Suddenly, she recognizes him as the player known as the Black Dragon. Haim quickly steps in, claiming he is the guy who took down Julio, the scammer who tried to frame her. Atsubel already knew Julio was utter trash destined to cause trouble. Softening up, she thanks him, realizing his quick actions saved her from a nightmare situation. Our hero is glad to help, especially since he despised that guy too. Julio had scammer written all over his face, and anyone could see it from a mile away. Just as Atsubel brings up teaching him magic, he cuts her off with a shocking question. Out of nowhere, he asks if she is searching for a cure. Having spotted medical research papers on her desk, he offers to help her solve it. Haim speaks with pure confidence, showing he knows his stuff. Intrigued, Atsubel tests him, asking for the name of the sickness that causes blue eyes, dizziness, and sudden vomiting. Unfortunately, our main character cannot answer this medical riddle. He realizes just how many times this poor girl has been scammed before. All those fake experts were exactly the same, bleeding her dry of gold and wasting her time with useless diagnoses. She was trapped in a cruel cycle of having her hopes raised, only to be utterly crushed every single time. But Hyung knows standard healing potions are useless here, and the patient probably has zero appetite. Hearing this precise detail, Atsubel's hands begin to tremble in shock. Hyung reveals the illness has no name, but he knows the cure. Desperate, Atsubel begs for his help and promises a massive reward. Our hero just wants her trust, claiming he holds the perfect medicine. Now let's check out this new quest, prompting him to find the cure in Edlin. For Loper, this is insane, because a guaranteed epic reward makes absolutely no sense. But Hyung does not even know what that means. Since he is a total newbie, his blonde friend has to break it down, explaining that ranks are basically a combination of level and rarity. And even with level 1 spell books, the performance varies wildly based on this rank. Hearing this, Hyung realizes magic guides work differently in actual combat. While the boy processes how this mechanic did not exist in his past life, Loper presses him on how they will even find the medicine. Ultimately, our hero decides he needs to test an epic grade item on himself first to see its true power. But just as he is about to reveal their next destination, a sharp, sudden pain strikes his chest. Loper panics, completely terrified by his friend's sudden agony. Of course, this is all his mother's doing. Suddenly, Hyung begins to log out and vanish, leaving his partner totally baffled. Waking up at home, he tries to act cool, telling his mother he was in the middle of something big. The old lady stares with an unreadable expression, but immediately starts hitting him for locking his door. Hyung quickly explains that he was just testing out a military discharge gift he got from Yeon. Hearing this, the angry mother finally realizes that he was just playing a video game. Having seen gaming news on television, she simply warns him not to overdo it. Relieved, Hyung promises he will only play in his spare time, especially since his new internship starts the very next day. The mother is shocked to hear her son actually landed a job, and naturally, she slaps him a few more times for keeping such big news a secret from her. Unfortunately, Hyung smugly blocks her hand and laughs, only to get a much harder slap delivered straight to his face. No parent wants their kid working right after the military, explaining her sudden rage. Hyung argues that he has to start earning money immediately because his final, graduating semester is starting the moment he returns to school. Since the office is all the way in Songdo, he has to wake up incredibly early, and his mother is not about to let him skip breakfast. By casually mentioning he ate a parfait for lunch, the boy enrages his mother further, quickly escaping to his bedroom to avoid her slaps. Finally, he sits on his bed, ready to log back in. With work starting tomorrow, he needs to sleep early, leaving him feeling bad for his in-game self. Meanwhile, Jae-ha Kim from the PR department is staring at the forum comments about this hidden quest in absolute disbelief. And trust me, you and I are going to want to see what happens next. Alright, let's dive into this wild story where a random streamer catches our main character's eye. Soon, he finds out the Black Dragon is teaming up with this guy, brutally mocking his pathetic Cheeto-smelling username. Regardless, he decides to check out the action in person. Logged into the game, the nervous streamer tries desperately to calm his viewers down. He was trying everything to explain how his friend just got brutally ganked by his own mom. Suddenly, the blonde guy notices a massive spike in the views. He had no idea what was going on while his chat begged for entertainment. That is when he spots a viral post about them trending in the game. A moment later, Hyung sends a text saying he can't log back in today but promises a huge tip. The streamer immediately shares this, sending the entire chat into pure hype. According to the Black Dragon, the key to unlocking Azazel's quest drops from Bomb Slimes. If his buddy can actually pull it off, he promises to share even more exclusive info. Bright and early the next morning, Hyung arrives at his new workplace, desperately trying to pump himself up. But when he steps inside the office, total chaos. He barely gets to introduce himself. An old manager spots him and immediately starts complaining about human resources. Without wasting a second, he orders Lee Man-ho to drag the new intern straight to the conference room. With an incredibly exhausted look, the senior employee guides the rookie. Hyung drops his bag to follow him for a quick tour. Then, out of nowhere, Lee tells our main character to wipe down the whiteboard. Suddenly, another man walks in, demanding to know why only 2 people showed up and who the rookie is. It turns out he is the team leader, and Lee had already warned him about the intern. Trying to make a good impression, Hyung promises to give this internship his all, but his boss could not care less, telling him to just follow orders and leave the second he is done. Hyung can already foresee this company's grim future, realizing he must adapt quickly to survive here. Later, he finally logs back into the game and explains how absolutely chaotic his first day at work was. The streamer claims to understand, giving him a highly suspicious look. Suddenly, he starts screaming at the top of his lungs. The plan actually worked, and they have over 5,000 live viewers. He wants to trigger Achibo's quest since literally nobody has cleared it yet. But when Hyung mocks his basic, uncreative imagination, the chat goes absolutely wild with laughter. Now, pay attention here. Our main character heads to the main gate, inviting the entire stream to follow along. The streamer still doubts he is a real rookie, but he gets the exact same evasive response. To Hyung, anything is possible in a game with this much freedom. Suddenly, they stumble right into a massive shouting match. Turns out, players rush here after reading that viral forum post. Suddenly, a player yells out that the prestigious Vanguard has finally arrived on the scene. Soon, we see this elite group marching through the crowd like they own the entire area. Seeing the Vanguard, the streamer realizes his friend's secret discovery has spread everywhere. Meanwhile, Hyung has absolutely no clue who these famous players even are. The blonde guy explains that the top 10,000 ranked players are called the Vanguard. Their elite status is determined by level, mastery, overall progression, and competitive achievements. Out of 300 million players worldwide, they hold the absolute top spots, and only 500 are Korean. Hyung is surprised to hear these elites do not even know basic magic because of other priorities. One player is carrying an incredibly rare weapon crafted by a master artisan called the Golden Bird Bow. They still cannot unlock Achibo's quest, even though most are backed by massive gaming corporations. With corporate money funding their run, these guilds generate insane profits. Suddenly, a young woman approaches our main character, politely asking if he can reveal the secrets to completing the legendary quest he promised on stream. But then an arrogant player rudely interrupts, mocking the girl for actually trusting a random streamer. As the two start bickering, Hyung simply walks away to continue his journey. He wants to head straight to the coast because crafting the required medicine actually requires a high-grade fishing rod. The streamer and his chat are totally confused since Hyung only mentioned bomb slimes before. Suddenly, a viewer donates 1,001 to roast him. Our main character realizes his clever hint flew right over their heads. The blonde has no clue why they need a fishing rod, assuming the medicine is hidden underwater. It is a pretty ridiculous theory, but our main character just keeps them guessing. The streamer starts worrying his friend is just a big scammer, dramatically crying about shutting the broadcast down. Hein calms him down and casually asks to borrow 70,000 gold. The blonde is completely baffled by the request, and the viewers scream scam in the chat. Looking down from above, Hyung notices that even more competitors have gathered. Now, I know what you were thinking. Is this gold gone forever? Well, they finally track down Eldrock, a merchant with terrible hearing. Hyung slowly walks up and starts trying to communicate with him. When Hein says he wants to buy the fishing rod, the hard-of-hearing NPC gives a completely random response. Hein offers 50,000 gold, but the greedy old man instantly demands 100,000 instead. Hyung realizes the stubborn old merchant is still the exact same and counters with 60,000. They bicker back and forth to strike a deal, until the old man finally crumbles under our protagonist's brilliant bartering skills. As Hyung celebrates his victory, the grumpy old man tells him to get lost. Suddenly, the streamer comments that Hyung was born for this entertainment life, leaving him totally baffled. He knew it the very second this insane quest saga kicked off. The blonde guy suggests trying out some immersive role-playing, but Hyung is definitely not interested in acting. While demonstrating the extreme volatility of bomb slimes to his viewers, the streamer accidentally triggers a chain explosion. Naturally, the chat keeps questioning how a fishing rod solves this. Analyzing the terrain carefully, Hyung calculates the perfect vantage point. The tackle physics differ slightly from real life, so he needs to calibrate his aim perfectly. Right as he prepares to cast, his blonde partner warns him that they are being actively watched. Honestly, Hyung already figured multiple rival guilds would tail them the very moment they walked out of the city gates. Because of this, he requests access to the shared stream settings window. He quickly realizes he has to configure the broadcast setup immediately. Hyung has always been obsessed with fantasy novels, but during his mandatory military service, absolutely nobody shared his passion. Whenever he got bored, he would read the exact same book over and over, until a new recruit joined. Quickly, Hyung approached the rookie to see if he recognized the story. To his absolute shock, the rookie actually did know it. Even though Hyung had memorized the story, this recruit pointed out mind-blowing hidden details he had completely missed. Hyung was completely captivated by him, feeling like the recruit had literally lived inside that fictional universe. Years later, when he saw the game advertisement, he already possessed ultimate knowledge. Playing with someone like this promised to make his gaming experience legendary. Out of nowhere, the streamer alerts him that only his view is being broadcasted right now. For the time being, Hyung wants to play dumb and act completely focused on slimes. While the blonde streamer keeps the chat entertained, their teammate sets up the broadcast. Watching the stream solely from his partner's point of view was getting annoying. He was definitely feeling the pressure as rival players closed in. Keeping their pursuers in the dark would not last forever. Just then, Hyung catches the sound of approaching footsteps and spins around. He spots the impatient, low-tier players who decided to make their move too early. And trust me, you and I are about to see this go down as he prepares his weapon. He charges directly at the shameless players using the fishing rod, which has a very special hook. Alright, you and I are jumping right into the action with this insane weapon. That thing has such a fine tip that the bomb slimes do not even react. But press a button, and boom spikes shoot out for ultimate explosive control. Using this trick, Hyung tosses a bomb right at the enemy feet. It is so devastating that their leader immediately orders a total retreat. Suddenly, they realize it is literally raining slimes, sending those cowards running for their lives. While Loper scrambles for cover, unavoidable explosions blast across the entire battlefield. That genius play by Hyung keeps those annoying stream snipers away for now. Finally, he can get to work. He hooks a rare, oddly colored bomb slime and stuffs it right into his bag. Just like that, the guys celebrate securing the vital quest item. See, when you wipe out almost all bomb slimes in an area, the survivors usually end up completely defective. This weird slime is the perfect example of that. But this is only the first step. Hyung is simply showing his friend how to get things done. Next stop, Axabel. But the road ahead is rough. Meanwhile, that exhausted roleplay department employee is starting to realize our Black Dragon friend is definitely not some random low-level noob. No way a beginner plays this well without some massive, wealthy gaming company backing him up. Kim wonders why this absolute prodigy is hanging out with a nobody. Is it a distraction from Vanguard's secret discoveries? Either way, he must complete Atsubel's quest first. Doing just this wraps up his entire monthly quota. But Kim is about to hit a roadblock. Right then, our blonde lady is absolutely terrified by the horrific medicine Hyung brings. Seriously, you cannot imagine how gross this stuff looks. Atsubel demands he take his cash reward and get lost. But when Hyung calls her out for being desperate, she loses her temper completely. Without even realizing it, he struck a major nerve. Suddenly, Hyung shoves the spoon right into her mouth, forcing her to swallow. A painfully awkward silence fills the room as she tastes it. Loper's face says it all, disgusted by his friend's absolute trash behavior. Hyun literally forced Atsubel to swallow that garbage, and her stomach is not having it. Now watch closely, because things get wild. She immediately starts gagging, throws up, and charges at Hyung in pure rage, but he points out that the vomited seed was the actual illness. Atsubel cannot believe she just puked up the actual root of her misery. She was desperately sick, and Hyung knew it the second he laid eyes on her. She had been suffering in silence for so long, terrified of worrying her mother, especially with vultures like Julia waiting to use her illness against her. It is actually pretty simple how Hyung figured it out. Atsubel had swallowed a nasty parasitic seed from the south that lodged itself inside her stomach. She likely caught it from imported food, and a bomb slime was the only cure. That is why they specifically needed a defective one that would not explode, but still trigger her body to reject the parasite. Without the explosion, it is just mucus and a heavy vomit inducer. Since there is no actual disease, throwing up that seed cures her instantly. Now that she is cured, she needs to take the remaining medicine to her sick mother. To Hyung, it is clear that even in a game, she has not changed. She still cares more about everyone else's suffering than her own. She might seem blunt, but she never stops helping people. Hyung truly hopes she finds real happiness in this world. We transition into a cutscene where she feeds the medicine to her mother. Just one small spoonful of slime cures her. As her mother swallows it, Atsubel watches in absolute disbelief as it works. Afterward, she tells the boys that giant seeds came out of her mother too. Now, she is ready to get revenge on the corrupt doctors who lied to her. It has been ages since Hyun saw her smile like that. She tearfully thanks him while the live chat drools over her beauty. Even Loper is crying, while Hyun checks his rewards. Because the boys saved her family, she has to reward them. She hands over the legendary spellbook they have been hunting for, and Hyun accepts it with genuine thanks. Loper is drooling over it, but our main character keeps it out of reach. He is already looking forward to their next big quest. Now, you and I both know quests usually end here, right? But she suddenly drops a massive bag of heavy gold on them. Loper is absolutely losing his mind with joy. The system announces they just unlocked the first clear reward. Their gold coin payout maxes out completely, alongside a massive heap of experience and attribute points. Both players instantly level up 5 times. Even better, their new spellbook upgrades from heroic to unique rank. Hyun stares in absolute awe as the book glows with legendary power. Hyun is just happy she is safe. But seeing that first to clear notification sparks a thought in his mind, and this might turn into a permanent problem. Loper did not even think a reward like this was possible. Completely blown away by the jackpot, he begs his friend to say something to their live stream audience. Loper tries to calm the hyped crowd down, but honestly, even Hyun is speechless. The chat is moving at warp speed, and they cannot even read the messages. Suddenly, Atsubel hands him one final item. He is deeply honored to receive another gift, unlocking yet another hidden achievement for being her savior. It is a letter of introduction to a legendary blacksmith. Since she noticed their current defensive gear is practically falling apart, Hyun jokes that the awful smell is just from the slime she puked up. Atsubel laughs, thanks them once more, and promises to help them whenever they need. With that quest finished, the world is completely open to them. Everyone starts in Edlin, but from here on out, they have total freedom to go anywhere. Of course, you still have to watch your back. Loper suggests some character customization, admitting he spent 5 straight hours tweaking his look just to stand out. Since you can easily swap genders here, players get catfished constantly. Meanwhile, Hyung is left to choose their next epic destination all by himself. Suddenly, a sweet sound plays. A viewer just donated 50,000 won, begging to see Atsubel lose her temper. Loper loses his mind with excitement and screams his thanks. Splitting the cash means 25,000 won each, but unexpectedly, that single donation triggers an absolute tidal wave of high-value tips. One viewer sends a massive 100,000 won. Loper is starstruck as their livestream concurrent viewers rocket past 8,000 people. Thousands of viewers tuned in over a single quest. Hyung offers a shy thank you, while Loper is practically bouncing. The tips total over 500,000 won, and half of that goes straight to Hyung. To celebrate, Loper bursts into an unbelievably cringe dance, secondhand embarrassing everyone watching. If they can keep this momentum going, Hyung is going to make an absolute fortune. He is finally on track to hit his ultimate financial goals. Remember, his mother sacrificed her entire life to find him, and he is determined to make her happy. Now, Loper begs him to open that spellbook, so let's see what insane powers we unlock next. Alright, you and I are diving right into the moment. Hyung opens that amulet. Boom, instant fireball skill on his info panel. Talk about an absolute anticlimactic cheat. Loper is absolutely losing his mind over it, feeling things that even our main character can't. But wait, after a slight delay, Hyung feels it too. It's like he literally absorbed the magic, reflecting what he learned in the other world. For the first time, Hyung finally understands what having an existing character actually means. Before he can even process it, Loper suddenly screams at him to unleash it because the stream viewers are waiting. The target? A massive rock sitting right in front of him. Hyung takes a deep breath, focuses all his energy into his hand, and activates the fireball. Boom. A colossal explosion rips through the area. Loper is completely shell-shocked. It's incredibly powerful. Even though it's only rank 1, this massive blast goes way beyond what Hyung ever expected. Suddenly, our protagonist spots something that makes his eyes pop. A brand new effect just unlocked. The sight triggers a wave of familiarity, pulling him into a brief, mind-bending optical illusion. Hyung stands there completely frozen in shock. A system panel pops up, displaying details about the 55 times recorder, along with a single, ominous keyword soon. He literally grinds his teeth in pure rage. That annoying goddess is definitely behind this. There's no doubt she's watching his every move. Seeing him look so furious, his friend immediately starts to worry. Honestly, Loper wouldn't get it even if Hyung tried to explain. So, the protagonist makes up a quick excuse and tells his blonde buddy to try the skill himself. Loper gets incredibly hyped, while Hyung just watches curiously. Without waiting a second, Loper concentrates to launch a magnificent fireball. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned. The poor blonde immediately falls into utter despair, dying of embarrassment. Farming magic proficiency is a total nightmare for him, while his friend instantly unlocks unique rank. Loper is furious at the unfairness, but Hyung just brags about it. Sure, everyone hypes up the unique rank, but the massive gap in proficiency is what really matters. Because of this, Hyung tells Loper that he has magic completely wrong. Now pay attention here. You can't just cast top-tier magic with a simple click. The Julio Grimoire makes it look easy, but the real issue goes much deeper. You have to calculate spells and manage your mana, so high rank alone won't save you. Magic is incredibly useful, but Hyung has no plans of making it his primary weapon. After hearing this massive lecture, Loper asks if his friend just created this character yesterday. Meanwhile, the stream chat starts roasting the protagonist's decision. It gets so bad that Hyung loses his temper and barks back. Loper desperately lunges to cover his friend's mouth to shut him up. Luckily, a massive donation suddenly rolls in, instantly killing all the tense drama. Talk about instant financial therapy. The duo immediately calms down. Hyung's anger completely vanishes because, let's be real, he loves money. He then asks the chat if they want to know their next destination. It had been ages since Hong last visited this place. He wasn't about to rush the main quest just yet, he needed to grab some essential skills first. The two friends step inside the shop, a place that always gives Loper the major creeps. Right away, the hunter Leichner spots the new arrivals. Wasting zero time, Hong straight up tells him he's here to learn archery. Hearing this, the hunter slams his axe down, asking if the kid finally grew a pair. Our bold protagonist confidently tells him yes. To pass Leichner's training trial, Hong must hit a minimum target score to earn those sweet rewards. He quickly asks the instructor a few questions, and the man confirms the rules. Getting super nervous, Loper urges him to dump some points into agility first. But Hong is insanely confident. He fires his first shot almost immediately, but with his terrible base agility, the arrow completely misses the mark. Still, he managed to gather some useful data from that failure. Loper decides to back off, keeping his mouth shut so he can focus entirely on watching his friend's next moves. On his second attempt, Hong lands an incredible score, leaving Loper completely speechless. His fast adaptation with every single shot is unreal. By hitting perfect scores repeatedly, he easily passes the entire test. It's a mind-blowing moment where Hong pulls off the impossible using basic level 2 gear. Meanwhile, a girl nearby is looking totally bored, wishing someone would actually give her a decent challenge. Suddenly, she spots the duo approaching and instantly dismisses them as complete idiots. Loper is literally skipping as he walks, which makes his friend look incredibly embarrassed. He's on cloud 9, totally unable to hide his excitement. That was absolutely epic, making Loper wonder if Hong secretly trained with bows before. The blonde is so hyped, claiming they're going to get insanely rich at this rate. I know what you're thinking, who'd bet against him? Loper actually bets the chat that nobody could predict Hong's god-tier bow skills. Honestly, we need more of these moments. He immediately asks what their next move is. Hong wants to teach him swordsmanship, but explains they need to unlock some serious speed first since it's vital for fencing. Lobert thinks the skill is a total waste of time, but our protagonist is about to change his mind. The instructor NPC is Rhea, and players completely avoid her because her quest is insanely hard. Hyung steps forward, getting right in the NPC's face. He boldly tells her he wants to learn the absolute best skill she has. The woman agrees, but suddenly snatches the boy's coin purse and darts away. She smugly announces her teaching fee is 5,000 coins. Rhea is shocked when Hyung doesn't even flinch. He genuinely wants the lesson. Honestly, after dealing with her thieving ways in past cycles, this is actually a steal. The girl makes sure to show her absolute distaste for our protagonist. She kicks off the lesson by challenging him to a game of tag. Hyung has to hunt down the runaway teacher before the timer hits 0 to get his prize. It's an impossible mission, giving him only 5 attempts to succeed. During this challenge, he can't accept other quests or even log out of the game. Lobert is convinced Hyung will fail, but the boy is completely locked in. Needing a solid lead, he decides to get help from Azubel, who actually has connections to their target. He lies, claiming he found this out just like everyone else. Luckily, the blonde girl falls for it and agrees to help. Turns out they're sisters, and Hyung spins another wild lie to Lobert about how he knew. The chat is highly skeptical, but the protagonist smoothly handles them. He tells them their own lack of awareness blinded them from the obvious truth. Dropping the argument, Hyung tracks Rhea down alongside his friend. Meanwhile, the girl is just relaxing, playing with a cute cat. She's completely relaxed, thinking the duo gave up and would never find her hideout. Suddenly, her sister walks right in, leaving her absolutely stunned by her guests. Rhea breaks out in a cold sweat seeing Azubel's new companions. She desperately tries to complain about the setup, but she's the one who said anything goes. Immediately, Azubel pulls her sister aside for a serious talk, reminding her she was told to stop stealing. The blonde scolds the little thief, warning her she'll end up behind bars. After lecturing her, Azubel tells her sister to meet her at the shop. Rhea grumpily agrees while Haim takes a moment to thank his friend. The protagonists pull off a legendary, unprecedented feat. Since a deal is a deal, Rhea reluctantly hands over the quest reward. Because his completion time was off the charts, Haim scores another unique tier skill book. And that's where we leave it with Rhea storming off in rage, while a completely exhausted Lopper finally catches up. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. Let's dive in as Haim realizes all that endless walking actually scored him another unique grade item. With no time to waste, he decides it is finally time to master swordsmanship. That skill book was a consumable item, which always felt weird to our main character. Right then, his stream viewers demanded to know why Haim chose a speed skill instead. The boy uses a simple sprint demonstration to justify his choice, but to Lopper, the skill seemed completely useless during roleplay. To him, even a unique grade tag changed nothing, but Haim stood firmly by his decision. Since our main character wanted to learn swordsmanship, Lopper stubbornly insists on teaching him, even though he barely knows anything himself. Haim asks his chat for their opinion, making Lopper look pretty awkward. It turned out most players, including Yan, followed the exact same path thanks to a popular online guide. Nobody had ever completed Azubel's quest before because of Yulio's annoying scam, which blocked all interactions. Normally, the blonde girl would vanish forever, leaving Rhea completely useless in the game. Breaking this endless cycle proved that Haim was on the absolute right path. There was no doubt he would conquer this roleplay in his own brilliant, unique style. He had no idea. After walking for hours, Haim realized this hermit swordsman lived incredibly far away. They finally reached the cabin and announced their desire to learn the blade. Noticing his guests, the man glares with a chilling look that leaves Lopper absolutely petrified. Finishing his drink, the veteran swordsman Balder stands up. He immediately commands them to swing their weapons continuously until told to stop, pointing toward the training yard right behind them. They came to learn the sword, so useless talk was over. Without hesitating, Hyun drops his heavy iron blade and grabs a wooden training sword instead. Usually, players spent ages trying to clear both stages of this quest. Most failed by assuming it would be easy, only for harsh reality to smack them down. Lopper was absolutely sure these training characters could easily kill players. Suddenly, a wild wager begins in the chat over how long Hyun will take to finish. With massive cash on the line, Lopper gets hyped and yells that the challenge is now worth 800,000 won. Our main character takes a deep breath and focuses. The key to swinging that wooden sword was not about the high count or speed. To be fair, Balder never expected master-level skills from absolute beginners, but most players thought the sword was just a basic, easy weapon, which Balder found incredibly insulting. What the old master truly wanted was sincere respect for the blade. After watching the boy swing for a moment, he raises his hand, declaring he has seen enough. A grin spreads across Hyun's face as his clever strategy pays off. Suddenly, a system window pops up with Phase 2, demanding a duel with Balder. Loper panics, realizing this trial is far from over. Seeing they lost the first bet, a viewer challenges them to a double or nothing wager. Hyun asks if he is seriously taking that bet. If our hero can successfully block the old master's strikes 4 times, they walk away with double the cash. But if he fails, he has to go bungee jumping in real life with Loper. Given his current in-game skills, pulling this off is going to be incredibly tough. Loper is absolutely terrified of heights, but Hyun just gives him a confident, knowing look. He tells his friend to relax and just trust the process because we are about to watch something insane. Suddenly, the chat user Sword God adds 1,000,001 to the reward, praising their bromance. Hyun can barely believe how much easy cash he is racking up. Grinning, Hyun stares Balder down with absolute confidence. Without wasting another second, both fighters grip their wooden hilts tightly and prepare to clash. A terrifying aura erupts from Balder's sword as he charges straight at our hero. Hyun feels a sudden rush of nerves realizing the fight has actually started, raising his blade just in time to block the opening strike. Loper and the entire stream chat watch in absolute shock at Balder's ferocious assault. You can see the pure strain on Hyun's face, but incredibly, he holds his ground. Annoyed that his strike was blocked, Balder immediately winds up for another brutal hit. But Hyun stands ready, waiting calmly for the next heavy blow. Balder charges right in again, but our hero deflects it a second time. Hyun realizes his movement feels heavy due to the low gear synchronization rate, but on the bright side, he can use his speed as a clever tactical advantage. Balder notices the boy is staying surprisingly calm under pressure. I know what you're thinking, is our hero actually going to pull off this legendary defense? Hearing this, Hyun replies with a highly sarcastic smirk. Balder scoffs, telling the boy he completely misunderstood his power and decides to wrap this matchup immediately. Mocking the veteran again, they plunge into a chaotic exchange of flashing wooden swords. Hyun is pushing his limits just to stay alive, making Loper wonder why a simple tutorial quest is so insanely hard. Thanks to a split-second warning, he barely dodges a swing that would have ended his run. Meanwhile, the stream chat goes absolutely wild over this incredible showdown. Balder grows frustrated that this rookie is lasting so long, charging forward with sheer brute force. But somehow, Hyun blocks the blow again, leaving the old master staring in pure disbelief. Hyun notices that the master's swings are getting wider and rougher. Taking a breath, both fighters back off, eyeing each other during a brief standoff. This short break gives Hyun time to realize each incoming blow is getting deadlier. But the peace doesn't last, and soon, Balder's menacing red aura clashes violently against our hero's raw willpower. He blocks yet another heavy attack, but the strain is too much. His training sword cracks and shatters into pieces, leaving him completely defenseless in front of the master. Balder stands frozen in shock, while Hyun collapses to the dirt, proudly bragging that he successfully blocked 4 consecutive strikes. Right there, our main character celebrates clearing this ridiculous challenge. The viewers are confused because neither side actually won. The duel simply ended because the wooden weapon broke before a clear winner could be decided. Hyun is eager to collect his cash after Loper wraps up the stream and calculates the earnings. The blonde guy promises to transfer every single one without cheating him. Throwing an arm around his shoulder, Loper suddenly brings up their first meeting. He asks what Hyun used to do for a living before he joined the army. Hyun tries to dodge the question, while the chat floods with theories. Loper then jokingly claims all this cash should go to the legendary Black Dragon, since Hyun completed these quests using nothing but raw muscle memory. Either way, Hyun is just relieved he does not have to go bungee jumping. Seeing how easily he fell for it, the chat starts teasing him about the fake prank. Suddenly, a viewer donates 100,000 won just to see him fight more. Hyun turns around and spots Balder, who looks absolutely furious. He is standing silent, trying his hardest to contain his rage. Balder was likely cursing himself for letting a complete rookie predict his swordplay. Hyun asks if the duel is officially finished, and the old master nods, telling him to wait. Our hero notices the old man gritting his teeth to hide his deep frustration. Soon enough, Balder returns with a massive reward, leaving Hyun with 4 highly developed skills. And that's where we leave it, with Hyun getting a legendary unique power. Trust me, you and I are definitely going to see him break this game next time. Alright, you and I are jumping right back into the action where Hyun is shaking his friend for some hype since the job isn't done. Loper tries to show off, but he gets shut down immediately. Hyun calls Balder right away, calling him out on the missing reward. After a tense silence, Balder reveals his master has headed off to Edland. If Hyung manages to track him down, he needs to hand over that mysterious object. The old man would definitely listen to whatever our main character has to say. According to Balder, his master resides where the winds gather, giving Hume a crucial clue. Armed with this hint, he commands his friend to head back to the city. Right then, a viewer sends a donation, joking that Balder is going to be incredibly busy today. Lopper is super curious, asking if they are heading straight to the big boss's master. But Helm looks completely drained and simply announces that he is logging off for the night. Real-life work is calling, and dragging himself through the day without sleep is a recipe for disaster. So, he signs off, warning everyone he won't be back immediately after his shift. Back in the real world, the boy instantly feels the sweltering heat. He is drenched in sweat, a side effect of hyper-focusing during that intense fencing quest. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a flurry of urgent messages. It's Loper, promising to wire over the streaming payout before he goes to sleep. True to his word, the notification pops up and the money hits his account. The final number is so massive it literally takes his breath away. The kid cannot even process the insane amount of donations they secured in such a short run. It makes him seriously question if grinding a 9 to 5 is even worth it after making this much in just 10 hours. He is back to reality, but his mind is racing with thoughts of returning. Still, he shakes off the temptation, telling himself that streaming must remain a casual hobby. Even so, he cannot help but worry about his enthusiastic friend who keeps pushing him forward. There is absolutely no guarantee that the donations will keep blowing up like this. A stable, proper career is the only way to give his mother some peace of mind. He needs to step up and show some real family duty right now. Clinging to those thoughts, he drifts off, only to be jolted awake by his mother calling out. He has overslept big time, and she is standing there, looking absolutely furious. Now keep your eyes on this part. His mother spots that massive bank deposit and loses it. Hyung is completely frozen, totally speechless under her intense glare. She suspects he is up to some shady business late at night. There is no way a young guy makes that much cash legally in her eyes. Without even letting him explain, she immediately accuses him of getting into illegal gambling. Finally getting a word in, Hyung mentions the setup he received from Hyun. He quickly explains that he was just streaming a video game, which is how he made the cash. The main character is a good, honest kid who would never touch anything illegal. His mother tells him they will talk more after work, reminding him he needs to get ready quickly. She starts to head out, but he calls after her. She does believe him, but she is just terrified this whole gaming thing will become a massive burden. Hyung quietly vows to ensure his mother never has to shoulder their heavy debts all on her own again. He is determined to grind hard so she can finally live a comfortable life. Real life is a harsh slap to the face, completely unlike the virtual world. Or so he thinks, until he gets ripped apart by his boss for dozing off at work. The moment he steps into the office, his coworker dumps a massive pile of files on his desk and dashes out. The files look incredibly complex, but thankfully they are organized well enough. He is just about to dive into the paperwork when his obnoxious team leader suddenly barks out his name. The jerk calls him trial version, constantly trying to humiliate him over things that have nothing to do with work. Then, he rudely commands the intern to go fetch him a drink. By simply asking what kind of coffee he wants, the boy somehow manages to trigger the angry boss. When he returns with the drink, he finds his coworker getting absolutely blasted by the leader. With totally lifeless eyes, the coworker takes the verbal abuse as if it is just another Tuesday. Finally, he speaks up, explaining that his current mountain of tasks makes it impossible to take on more. You saw that coming, didn't you? This arrogant jerk loses his mind, accuses Minho of slacking, and throws all the papers into the air like a complete toddler. He screams insults at the poor coworker just as Hyung rushes in with the coffee. Both boys immediately drop to their knees to scramble for the loose sheets of paper. The team leader glares down at Hyung with pure venom, calling everyone in the room complete idiots. After finally gathering the scattered pages, they head back to work, but Minho is clearly completely overwhelmed by the encounter. Staring into the glowing screen, his eyes look completely drained of life. Suddenly, he turns and apologizes to Hambit for showing him such a depressing scene. The main character brushes it off, saying their boss was probably just having a bad day. But a massive project given by that incompetent manager is already underway. It is going to eat up all of Minho's time, meaning he cannot guide the new intern properly, which is why he feels so bad. Hearing his coworkers struggle, Hyung immediately steps up and offers to help him out. The grueling shift finally ends. As he steps off the bus, our main character hears a familiar voice. It is his friend, asking how the workday went. Running on a measly 3 hours of sleep, Hyung drags him toward a nearby cafe so they can talk in peace. The second he hits the chair, Hyung practically melts into a puddle of sheer exhaustion. Corporate life is a nightmare, and he is dying to stream for hours just to roast his boss. Moving on, Hyung demands the update his buddy promised to share. Without missing a beat, Yoon pulls up the business offers they received post-stream, and some massive corporations are on that list. One of these massive tech giants is offering a staggering salary of 100 million won. Yoon genuinely believes partnering up with an established brand is their absolute best move here. But catching a glimpse of Yoon's expression, the main character realizes something is seriously off. He is completely certain his friend is hiding the truth, even if he denies it to his grave. Signing with a massive agency does not actually benefit Hyung in the long run. Yoon did not mean any harm, but his friend can see right through his hidden feelings, so he playfully chops him on the head. Nursing his bruised head, Yoon starts looking a lot like his protective uncle. He really just wants Hyung to land a secure job that pays him what he is worth. The main character appreciates the incredible offer, but demands absolute honesty about what his friend really wants. Dropping the act, Loper admits that role-playing a corporate representative does not suit him. Searching for boundless freedom and wild adventure sounds amazing, but playing solo is a massive grind. In his eyes, Hyung is the one who truly shines when it comes to role-playing. He simply wants to capture his friend's legendary highlights and share them with the entire world. Because of that, his dream is to launch a dedicated gaming agency built entirely around the protagonist. Instead of a stiff corporation, it would act like an in-game guild bridging reality and virtual world. It is the exact concept Yoon pitched back during their military service, though Hyung still cannot fathom how they will monetize it. Yoon patiently explains they can publish stream highlights on the platform and live off ad revenue. After all, Hyung is already trending everywhere with his insane content. Viewers watching the channel will be inspired to jump into the game, expanding their guild. It is a brilliant pitch, but Hyung remains a bit skeptical about running an actual business. It turns out he would be the vice CEO, streaming completely on his own terms with Yoon handling the background work. After hashing out the details, the two of them finally shake on it. So what do you and I make of this crazy deal? It is his final shot to reach airport, clear the game, find the truth, and unlock the mystery of his endless deaths. Alright, you and I are about to dive into a massive mystery, starting with Yoon's vibrating phone. Tons of messages are flooding in normal for a popular guy, but one specific text makes him freeze, forcing him to make a desperate, urgent call. No one is picking up, and the silence is driving Hyung crazy. Everything traces back to that mysterious golden bow vanguard they spotted in Edlin. Turns out, they belong to the vanguard of a massive German company called RAREST. Rumor has it that the Atubal quest rewards drop as more players finish it, creating a total monopoly. Naturally, the community blames Hyung for the scheme, sparking protests against Ration, Black Dragon, and Loper. The protester rants that nobody in this world can be trusted, but his buddy shuts him down, telling him to just be grateful for the sweet rewards he already got. Now, pay attention to this part. Why would the rewards be so much better for the early birds? That is exactly why his friend warned him to move fast. But right now, the slimes are completely gone. Either way, Black Dragon has to explain himself today. Meanwhile, he can't help but marvel at how massive Ration really is. Their players are absolute powerhouses, especially with a top-ranked archer on their side, but no problem is unsolvable. After mapping out a plan, Hyung tells Yeon they need to push back the stream. He sips his drink as darkness sets in. Opening a dusty guidebook, a sly grin spreads across his face when he spots the exact info he needs. Time to log in and investigate. Instantly, our main character remembers the location of a hidden cave. Sure enough, it is crawling with bomb slimes, and there is a very specific reason for it. Before long, Hyung tracks down the level 7 bomb slime king. This massive beast has a unique trait. It pulls in ordinary slimes, absorbs them, and grows larger and larger. But there is another secret behind this massive gathering. Squinting at the dark cave ceiling, our main character catches a glimpse of something glowing brightly above. It is monster bait with the name Ration stamped right on it, a rare single-use item found only in a northern dungeon. Ration planted this bait right in the Slime King's spawning grounds. Combined with the monster's natural pull, it created a massive farming monopoly, explaining why the surrounding forest was left completely barren. With zero hesitation, Hyung unleashes a massive fireball. Intense energy floods the entire chamber, and in seconds, the giant slime is engulfed in a roaring sea of flames. System rewards rain down and a massive notifications sweep. But right now, Hyun only cares about how many monsters were lured there. Soon, a leaked video goes absolutely viral online. Turns out, our main character filmed the whole raid and uploaded the footage anonymously. He conveniently cut the part where he cleared the slimes, leaving the internet to flame Ration. Meanwhile, he finds an NPC named Zentrombor in his guide, the poor guy who dug this cave only to have it stolen. The online chaos regarding the missing monsters and the mistreated NPC played perfectly into our main character's hands. Oddly enough, while the NPC's name is listed, the cave itself is missing from the book. That guidebook only reflects the actual limits of an adventurer's past knowledge. Sure, lots of details are written down, but they are vague and slightly distorted. It feels like a vital piece of the puzzle was purposely omitted. This makes Hyun highly suspicious of Adventurer A's real identity. Meanwhile, the blonde guy mentions that everyone avoids magic because of the grueling proficiency system. Grinding magic to the absolute max just to unlock the next skill tier is a massive nightmare, forcing most players to choose physical paths. But for the Black Dragon, things are built different. He was about to hit 100% proficiency in a single day. Lober laughs it off as a late April Fool's joke, but Han points out this is only rank 1. Still, Lober demands hard proof since mastering a single spell usually takes an entire month. In response, our main character opens his status window, silencing his doubts instantly. I know what you were thinking, is this a bug? Because the blonde guy completely loses his mind and drops to his knees. But Hong just shrugs it off, explaining that this crazy achievement just happened naturally. He warns his friend to keep this insane proficiency a secret during the stream, because he has a much more entertaining show prepared for the audience, a plan specifically aimed at the troublemakers from Rashton. Finally, the stream goes live, and Loper greets a chat that is absolutely screaming for explanations. He quickly explains the delay, making it crystal clear that they have zero connection to Rashton. Before hunting down Baldur's master, the Black Dragon prepares to make his move. Just then, news breaks that Leah has run away yet again. That girl just will not listen. Hyun tries to see things from her perspective, offering some comfort to his stressed friend. She really hoped they could all just get along without constant fighting. When asked about his next move, our main character declares his goal of learning the next magic skill. With a simple request, he wins Atsuo's approval, sending the stream chat into absolute hype. Without waiting, she hands over the second magic book. The quest window pops up immediately, showing the next set of rewards. But as Hyun holds the book, something outside the window catches his eye. Eager players are peeking through the glass, watching their every move. As our main character opens the book, a surge of power erupts from his amulet, filling his screen with massive level-up notifications. Loper's jaw completely drops as the Black Dragon ranks up and instantly masters the devastating fire explosion skill. Atsuo advises him that if he ever gets stuck, he should visit the magic research lab in Ifrit. He thanks her and finally steps out of the shop. Stepping outside, they are greeted by a massive, hostile crowd. Loper tenses up seeing the Ration guys waiting there, especially one fierce-looking player who is staring a hole straight through our main character. Unfazed, they walk right up to him. Hyun even mocks him, telling the guy to wipe that ridiculous look off his face. He wanted a smooth transaction, but was highly amused to see what would happen next. Already, the greedy mob is pushing into the shop demanding magic books from Atsuo. Loper mutters about how utterly shameless these guys are, and Hyun couldn't agree more. Still, Loper has absolutely no clue what trick his friend is pulling, getting more confused by the second. Inside, their leader rounds up the crowd to open the stolen books all at once. The countdown starts as our duo watches from a safe distance. And on 3, everyone flips their books open simultaneously. Haim grins in anticipation. It is finally time for the show to begin. Suddenly, every single book bursts into roaring flames. The stream chat goes wild, trying to guess what happened, while panicked players desperately try using wind magic. Asuba is absolutely furious as her shop catches fire, instantly kicking the idiots out into the street. They are about to get burned to ashes, exactly the show Haim promised. Suddenly, someone screams that the quest rewards have shifted. The system confirms the drop, and that is where we leave it. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. So, you and I watch as this elite shooter learns that absolutely nobody has succeeded. He hesitates, then decides to walk right up to the duo. Even so, Haim is not intimidated at all. Now watch closely as the shooter steps up, casually demanding a little chat with him.